Hi everyone, this is going to be the week 2 tutorial video going on an overview of the routine we're going to do and how to successfully do them. So the first movement is going to be wall seated breathing. Now it sounds very simple, and it is, just got to get into it properly. So you want to find a wall with as little molding as possible so that you can be really close up to the edge. If it's something substantial, it's going to push your hips out and make that difficult. You can also use a door if the door is flush, and you can put your weight on the side of the closure. So you don't want it to be opening because that's too much stress on your door. So anyways, once you've found your surface, at least shoulder width and torso head height, you want to push your hips as close in as you can get. So I like to put my hands and just lift and push so my pelvis is very squared up to the wall. And then you just kind of roll up. So think lower back contacts all the way, upper back contacts, and then head contacts. And then you take your feet and you can either go into a cross position or into a butterfly position like this. Butterfly is obviously going to be a lot more stretch intensive, so if you can comfortably sit here, that's a little more, say, more time productive, just because you're getting in this extra stretching, but it can make it a little harder to sit comfortably and breathe, and we're focusing on the breathing right now. So whichever one you can feel like you can comfortably breathe in. You want to think, open your chest, your shoulders, reach out to the sides. You allow your arms to relax, and you think your chest wants to settle downwards. You might feel some stretching in here. And then you're just going to breathe. I like to close my eyes when I do this. Nice, slow, big inhales, big exhales. Focusing on getting that expansion in the belly. And then having it kind of travel a little bit upwards. And then down. If you can, try and breathe through your nose. Both ways. Helps calm you. Helps prep the body. Get it warm. But if you need to breathe through your mouth, totally fine. Next up is a long sit ankle warm up. So I'm going to do this laterally at first, and I think that should be good for all of these, but we shall see. So for the long sit, this is the long sit here. Sitting up very tall, holding a little bit of curve here in the low back if you can. It's a very difficult position, so we're going to make it easier by putting the hands behind you. So you can have your fingers point out to the side or straight backwards. Either way, it's up to you. It's kind of personal preference at that point. And then you're going to think, push your chest forwards and slightly up so you can maintain this arch to the low back. Right? Driving your hands into the ground, getting into here. From this position, we're going to do the ankle warm-up portion. So you're going to point and flex your toes down, squeezing, and then flare your toes as you flex. Knees are locked as much as you can make them. Point and squeeze, flex, and open. So just back and forth with that. Inhaling and exhaling. You can time the movement to your breaths if you want to, or you can just kind of have that be a consistent breathing pattern, not really worrying about timing it to the movement. Either way, it's totally fine. You want to get 10 of these, and then what you're going to do, I think this one I will go this way. Same positioning, you're going to twist the feet so that the soles of your feet face together, and then so the soles of your feet, as much as you can, face outwards. You're trying to flex the feet, twist. Now, this is eversion and inversion. It's just a different movement of the ankle. It's also a little bit getting into pronation and supination, but the goal here is to keep the knees extended and try to not to have this happen with the thighs, because that is the next one, which we'll get into now. 10 of these as well. So for this one, same long sit position, right? So you'll just be in this one still. And then we're going to do hip twists. So thinking your legs all the way up, Going to twist down, feeling that up into your hip, keeping that extension, keeping the legs locked, feet flexed. Inhale and exhale, twist to the other side. You're going to primarily feel this in the leg that's twisting towards the ground on the inside. The other one should feel much more comfortable. You're doing external rotation and internal rotation. And internal rotation is always tighter. Exhale and inhale. Exhale and inhale. Right, so just back and forth through that. Calmly breathing. This one you do want to time to that motion. And again, 10, back and forth, timed to the breathing. Next up, sideline leg extensions. So you're on the ground, you want to have your knees forward so that your feet are in line with the back of you. If you want to, you can do this up against the wall if you have the wall space for it. If you don't, then just guess. It's not super crucial. Take your bottom hand and support your head with it. If you want to, you can use a pillow here. The top hand just kind of braces on the ground. From here, you're going to float your top leg off, and you're going to bring it up as far as you can while maintaining a slight curve to the low back. If you want to, you can use your hand to feel that. When you feel your back start to round, so pushing that way, that means you've gone too far, and you got to pull back and really hold as you squeeze. Once you find that position, you're going to push your foot forwards, getting into that hamstring stretch, really trying to hold in the low back, and then bring it back. If you want to, you can point as you bring it back, point your foot, and then push the heel, flex the foot, driving into that hamstring stretch, and bringing it back. When you bring it back, you should feel the glutes tighten, hamstrings tighten, here, quad, hip flexor a little bit. So just back and forth, inhaling and exhaling. So exhale, inhale. Again, trying to make sure your low back is not moving as you're doing this. If you want, the top hand can just stay there. 5 of these, and then you can just roll over, reset the foot positioning, support your head, brace, low back, float, extend, right, back and forth. Or you can just kind of shift, like whatever way you want to get into that, really doesn't matter. Just for efficiency purposes, sometimes rolling is easier, but if you have a limited space, sometimes it's not an option. Next up is ground rocking. So, you're going to get nicely set on the ground, feeling weight on your pelvis all the way up your spine. Bring your knees off, and you're going to hug your knees. If you can't touch your knee or grab your knees comfortably, it's totally right to grab under them, straight on your thighs. What you're going to do here is pull your knees towards you, feel your low back in the ground, let them go away till the low back comes off. Your head will kind of tuck down. This is not a movement. You need the time to your breathing. You just want to make sure you're going kind of slow and gentle as you feel the low back moving. And you want to maintain some kind of breathing pattern. So 5 of these. And then you're going to go side to side, feeling, again, just enough that the low back kind of shifts. You're weighting onto one side of the pelvis and then the other. Back and forth. Again, we're going for 5. And the breathing, it's not super crucial. It's just kind of make sure it's pattern. And then we're going to go circles. So going to the side and extending to the side and in. Right, 5 circles, and then 5 circles the other way. Right, both of those. And then from there, it's Spreadfoot glides. Yes, Spreadfoot glides. So, Spreadfoot position. What I've been finding is helpful cueing for this to really get the glutes engaged is you take your heels and you slightly bring them together. Right? So instead of just pushing your feet out to the side, you might hear often with this, or weighting down, think you're twisting. So you're twisting your heels together. You'll find this gets the arch, should get the arch nicely engaged, and you'll feel this all the way up into your hips. There are many different kind of modalities for how to cue foot positioning. So if you know of any other ones that are really effective, try them out. I like to think, twist the heels together. And then you're going to push your hips backwards until you feel hamstring tension. So you're dangling here in this position, feeling that hamstring tension. You're going to bend one knee, shifting over to that side, and you'll feel groin stretch pretty intensely. Inhale, and then as you exhale, you transition to the other side. Again, keeping that heel twisted inwards, and then to the other side. So back and forth with this, pushing the hips backwards as far as you can, inhaling and exhaling. Back and forth, we're going for 10 of these, trying to get full knee lock out. Right? You don't have to go super wide with this, right? If you want to go here, hamstring, shift, shift, as long as you can feel a groin stretch, right? So if you want to, be out super far, and as long as you can control this, right? It doesn't take long to get to the groin stretch. The difficulty with going super wide is the feet. Often that will make this roll in, which if you can control that, it's fine, but you have to be able to control your foot and your knee, and it's much harder if you do that. So just be aware of what your feet are doing. Next up is Spreadfoot T twists. So once you finish the glides, drive your hips forward back to the standing position. Make sure your feet are nice and set. Extend the arms out to the side. From here, make sure your ribs settle down. You don't want to be flared up, right? You don't want to have your rib kicked upwards, doing this big curve here. We want to allow it to settle down, squeezing the glutes. And then it's just twisting. Pushing with this hip a little bit forwards so that you don't open up, because you're trying to really make this in the torso. So just twist, inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. So just back and forth with that, keeping your head tall, thinking that you're pivoting around your spine. If you want to make this harder, you can elevate your hands. That'll provide more tension in the chest. You're really pulling in the upper back. You can also twist so your thumbs point backwards or palms are facing up. And again, that will provide a little bit more tension. You can also be here and twist. So there's just modifications you can do to make that a little bit more difficult. When you're done with that, walk it in together. Yes, that one is 5. 5 per side. So that's just counting that as 1. Next up is Stork Walks. Hip width distance, feet are pointing forwards, glutes engaged, abs engaged, knees are unlocked. You're gonna have your arms up. You can either have them here, this double 90, or fists to temple, whichever one you find more comfortable. They work very similarly. I'm gonna do fists to temple. Elbows together. Take a breath in. On that exhale, I'm gonna lift one leg up, finding the glute tension on this leg, and you're lifting as far as you can maintain this glute tension. As this gets higher, this will get tighter, harder to hold. And down. And then find the glute tension, squeeze it, lift the other leg. So just back and forth with that, opening up in the chest, pulling your elbows backwards. As you think this knee is trying to go up. Ooh. As high as you can go, still maintaining here, because that keeps your low back nice and safe. So if you lose the glute tension, right, and you're not focusing on that, your low back is going to round backwards, right? and you don't want that. You want to be able to maintain this nice neutral pelvis. So you're squeezing, bringing that up, maintaining the pelvis, because that keeps your spine nice and aligned. 10 of these. This is 1, and then this is 2, or you can count each leg, whatever's easier for you. Next up is lunge twists. So you're going to start in a standing position, up nice and tall, weight onto one side, slide your leg back. So the slide is kind of important because you want to maintain the distance width-wise of your feet, because if you step back, you might cross over, and that's much harder to balance. So you just want to think maintaining that foot distance. Weight stays here on the front leg as much as possible, and you're trying to maintain the arch. Again, you can try the trick of twisting the heel inward slightly, might help. And then you're going to raise up onto your ball of your foot on the back leg, squeeze the glute. This is important, holding the squeeze here. If you need to, you can lean forward more to find that. If you're too upright, it gets harder. Then you're going to sink that foot back down, holding that squeeze. And from here, you can put thumbs to shoulder or arms to the back of the head, whichever one you feel more comfortable with. It's going to be easier, more chest tension. So, get your arms in the position you're going to be doing this in, and then you're going to think, squeeze here and twist with an exhale. Inhale, and then twist with an exhale. Inhale back. Your weight is driving into that foot. You're squeezing here. You're breathing out as you twist. And this elbow, either here or here, you're pulling that backwards. So you should feel this in the upper back on this side. Right, nice breathing pattern. Back and forth. When you're done, shift weight forward, so up on the ball of the foot. Stand out of it. It's the easiest way to get out of that one. You want to go for 10 of those, so it's just the 10 breaths. And last up, head shoulder circles. So nice standing posture. So you're up nice and tall, hip width distance, feet forward, knees bent, glutes, abs, right? And then from here, what you're going to do is roll down, thumbs to the right, thumbs forward, thumbs to the left, thumbs forward, right, forward, left, right. So you just kind of make this nice pattern. So we're not going for like the full head circles. You're leading with the chin. You're thinking your head stays kind of in this forward-looking plane. And then as you are moving, your shoulders twist, matching the direction of your movement. So you're going to go 5 of these circular ones, right? Both directions. I like to think on the side I'm like leaning towards or reach down with that hand a little bit, but I also reach down with this hand. Really gets a nice trap stretch. So you kind of extend your hands like you're trying to touch the ground. Once you get 5 on both of those, you're going to roll in. I like to think thumbs backwards as I tuck my head down. And then you're going to open and roll. So again, thumbs backwards, but this time you're opening the chest up as you look up to the ceiling. Down, rolling inwards, rolling outwards. So back and forth. 5 of those as well. Exhaling, inhaling, or honestly you can do the other way. You can inhale and exhale. Doesn't really matter which order you do that in, as long as you are consistent with doing that to the movement. And that is it for the week 2 tutorial. hopefully all of these made sense and you feel comfortable doing them, because we'll have the follow along. Be nice and fast. If you have any questions, email, as always.